Hello everyone, hope all is well today. My name is Gilles Lamotte. The topic of discussion today is going to be graphs. In particular, we'll discuss histograms and box plots for a numerical variable. Okay, and so what I'll do is I'll first start by importing data from a file. I'll create a data frame. I'm going to call my data frame data. Use a function called read.table. First argument is going to be file.choose. Okay, and then this is to open a window to browse for a file. In the file, there's going to be names for the columns in the first row, so we put header equal to true, and then the file is going to have tabs to delimit the columns. And so I need to put in the separator is going to be tabs by putting the in quotation marks /t. Okay, so then R is going to open up a window asking me where is this file. The name of the file is going to be survival times. And then I use the function called names of my data frame. Oops, yes, and then I see that there's one column and it's called survival times in months. If you were to look at the original file, actually you would see that the dots were actually spaces. So R here changed the name by putting dots instead of the spaces. And so we'll create a histogram for this numerical variable, which is called survival time in months. Now, if I want to know how many rows I have in the data frame, I can use my function called nRow. So this tells me that there are actually 250 rows, so 250 patients for which I have survival time. I can also use a function called nCall, and see I only have one column in the data frame. Okay, so now let's create a histogram with the function hist. I put in my numerical variable. In this case, it's the survival time in months, which is inside of the data frame data. So I use the name of the data frame, $, then the name of the variable, and then I have a histogram for my numerical variable, which is the survival time. Now notice that the titles that R gave were actually not that nice. I can make some changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste my command. I'm going to go to the menu, take File, open a new script. This would be a new document if you're using a Mac. And then this is just an editor window from which I can edit my commands. And so here I'm going to have a longer command, and so I'm going to first of all put it inside of the editor, and then I'll submit it to the console. Okay, and so I have my function called hist. I have the name of the variable, and then I'm going to use ylab. This is for the label for the vertical axis. Here I'll just keep it as frequency, so that's fine. And then comma, and then I put in another argument. It's going to be xlab. This is going to be the name for the horizontal axis. So I'll call it survival time in months. Okay, and then with the argument main, I can change the title for my histogram. So this I can call it, for example, histogram of survival time. Survival time. Okay, so now I will select all of these commands, or just the one command, and then because I'm on a Windows system, I'm going to use Control R. This is on Windows. Or if you are using a Mac, this is going to be Command Enter. Okay, and so I select and then submit, and then R constructed the graph. So here I have histogram of survival time, and then I have survival times in months, and here notice that the time went to the next line. Here this is because I have a enter. So here what I'll do is in my command I'll put time back on the same row as survival, and then resubmit my command. And then we have actually our title on the same line. Okay, so I changed the labels, so the Y label, the X label, and then the title of my histogram. Now let's say that I want to construct a box plot, so this will be box plot. So now I'll copy and paste my variable, and then I'll put it into a function called Boxplot. Okay, so Boxplot, and then this creates the Boxplot. Now we can add some extra features here. For example, the Y label here should be the name of my variable, and so with ylab as an extra argument, I can add in a title or label for the vertical axis. So this could be survival time in months. Okay, so I resubmit the command, and then now I have my nice box plot. Now the box plot that R constructs by default does not compute the quartiles in the same way that we would normally do. The quartiles that are taught in class are actually type 6 quantiles with R, and we redefine actually the boxplot function to be able to do this. And so to redefine the boxplot to use quantiles of type 6, what you'll need to do is source a file. So I'll source, and then I'll say file choose, so that I can show R which file to source. And then R is going to open up a window asking me where is this file. And so I will then go to my documents. The name of the file is plots.r. So in plots.r there are a few functions. In particular, there's a function called boxplot. So here, if I go to the console and then I type in boxplot and then uppercase for B, uppercase for P, and then if you enter after you source the file, you'll see the following displayed. So it's function X and then use method boxplot. So this means that you properly sourced the file called plots.r. And so now I have access to a new boxplot function, which is used in the same way as the original boxplot function. So I'll just copy and paste my command for the boxplot, but instead of using little b, little p, I'll use capital B, capital P. And then I see that actually the boxplot looks exactly the same, except that the quartiles have been computed in a consistent way as it has been taught in class. Okay, so this is by using quantiles of type 6. So this is how we construct histograms and boxplots with R. In another video, we'll show you how to construct side-by-side boxplots. All right, so have a good day.